What's up, band, choir, and orchestra directors? It's Jill, and today I'm continuing our ongoing series about teaching the festival ballot to your musical ensemble by talking about the category on rhythm. Lots of folks fall into the trap of thinking that rhythm is just about playing notes at the right time, and that's a great place to start for beginners. But for intermediate and beyond students, there are a few other considerations to think about when you're trying to improve your scores in this category for festival or contest. With that in mind, here are a few other things that your adjudicators might be judging you on when it comes to rhythm. Number one is your note durations and cutoffs. Now, obviously, you want your students to be starting their notes at the right time, but you also have to worry about the end. And if you have a half note marked, but your students are playing or singing a whole note or cutting off too early, that becomes a rhythm problem for your ballot. Number two is a steady pulse. And I know personally for me, one of my weaknesses as a musician overall and as a director was a sense of internal tempo. I could let it swing by 10, 15 beats per minute and not notice anything. And so over the years, I came to use a metronome, not only in my personal practice, but as a classroom tool as well. It's really important to not let your ensemble push and pull that tempo if it's not supposed to be pushed and pulled. So now's the time, if you haven't, to do a little experiment with your group and hook up your Dr. Beat, put it through a set of classroom speakers and see how they're doing and really assess your pulse as a group. Speaking of pulse, the number three thing to look out for is purposeful tempo fluctuations. So things that are marked in your music, such as ritardando, accelerando, rubato, any of these things, you want to make sure that you are communicating those appropriately to your ensemble and that you're getting the best result. And sometimes in the name of interpretation, we will add retardandos or something like that into the music that are not marked in there. And it's a good idea to make sure that you're being very obvious with those in your conducting so that the adjudicators know they're coming from you. And never really hurts to mark them in your judge's copy as well. Now, especially on ballots for more advanced groups, you may be judged on something akin to the rhythmic pulse or feel of your work. This goes especially for things like time signatures or styles of music that should have a bit of a pull or a lilt or a feel to them, such as like waltzes or things in compound meter where you really want to feel that triple pulse. So it's helpful to think of if your music should feel a certain way when it's driving or pulling from something. And the best tip I can give here is that if you're not sure if your group is achieving this or not, quit conducting, close your eyes, and listen while they're playing. And you should be able to hear it. Or you can always record your group and listen later. But again, sometimes this is a really hard thing to judge whether we're doing or not when you're in the moment. So always either just quit your other activity and listen, or listen later on when you don't have 60 students in front of you. That's it for today's tip on teaching rhythm on your contest or festival ballot. And make sure you follow us here because next week I will be continuing this series by talking about the technique category. Catch you next time.